What up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of the Barbell Brigade Talk Show. I'm with Silent Mike. I'm with Rockstar Tim Kennedy. A question that I wanted to ask you
They're going to think he's a bass player.
Yeah.
Rockstar. I always wanted to be a rock star.
A question I wanted to ask you is, I know you've had some violent tendencies as a kid. Did you ever deal with any anger issues, and how did you deal with them? And was training any type of coping mechanism or even therapy mechanism for any of that stuff?
Yeah, man, I was chip on the shoulder, second born, middle child, definitely. I had a real bad heart murmur when I was born, and I was just small. I was, they're talking when I was born as an infant, like heart murmur's so bad, we have to do surgery on this kid or he's going to die. And my parents let it ride. And because of that, I was the last to be picked, I was, and that because being the last to be picked, fine, deal with this Tasmanian devil that just did a line of coke and try to deal with this psychopath. You pick me last, cool. Let me show you what it's going to be like when I play. So working to be the fastest, working to be the strongest, never gifted. I fought at 5'11", one of the shorter guys in the whole entire division, and so it's no different there. Like a chip on the shoulder. I would go out there, like a starved pit bull that's been in a cage that sees a female pit bull walk by in heat, and now I just have to, So
that's the UFC energy.
Yeah,
you just want to fuck.
That was it.
Yeah.
And had it not been for martial arts and athletics, I think I would have gotten in a lot of trouble. I got in a lot of fights, real bad fights, and I'd look for fights, and I would be justified, I'd be on the moral high ground of somebody saying something slick to somebody else, or
But you're listening extra for those things.
yeah. I'm like,
who's talking?
He said, "I got an itch," and he called you a bitch.
Yeah. And he just, you're going down, man. And I'd try to put myself into positions and places to be there for when that happens. And
seeking a little bit of chaos, maybe. Yeah.
And it hasn't changed, middle age, and where I'm about to go. I'm literally going there because it's no different.
Someone talk some shit.
Yeah, somebody talk some shit.
Yeah. They said,
but if I'm not there, then there's nobody to be able to do it. Who's gonna walk up and smack the bully in the mouth?
Did you deal with bullying itself, or more just chip on the shoulder?
Oh, I know.
A little bit of both.
Yeah, I mean, 80s.
Yeah, a little different.
It's a different thing,
Simple answer, 80s.
And
they don't know. They don't know. They're young.
Yeah, I would come in, and I remember my dad be like to my brother, "If Tim comes back all bloodied up like this again, son, you're gonna get bloodied up." And then my brother would fight for me, and then we'd fight together, and then it was the Kennedy brothers, and you'd come home from school and you'd leave at 3:00. You couldn't come home until the sunset. You're drinking out of hoses, stealing tire tubes from the tire shop so you could go float the river. That's just what it was. It's different now, and it was rough. The 80s are rad.
Do you raise your kids on the 80s terms?
Yeah, my son's feral.
He's feral?
Yeah, he's literally sick. A wild feral human. There's adults.
Does he go to public school?
No.
Because it's too crazy.
Too feral.
No.
He probably goes to your school.
Yeah, so I own my own private school.
Right.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
And it was very early on.
Feral school?
It is Socratic, and it is free, and it's activity based.
Very cool.
So we are program and Socratic. So literally it's learner driven. So every single one of the studios, the kids in the school, in their own classrooms, are the one driving what happens in the classroom. It is awesome. Not like Lord of the Flies style, but sometimes a little bit.
Yeah, I went to a kind of a hippie school, kind of like that.
It's awesome.
Yeah, it's amazing. It turned out okay. It could have been worse.
Go ahead.
Do you think any other sport or outlet besides martial arts could have helped your drive? Because people talk, and obviously it's such a different world compared to what you've gone through, obviously as an athlete, but as your profession. Because people talk about Kobe Bryant, killer mentality. Well, did he have a killer mentality, or did he just like to win, right? Shooting a bucket is much different than the things you see and you do. Life on the line, other people's lives on the line.
Yeah.
Do you think some of that translate?
Yeah, I do think it translates. At like buds and special forces selection, there's not. I wish there were a predictor that we knew who was going to be selected.
Yeah.
But guys coming from really elite level athletics,
That's different.
They do way better than anyone else. Way better than anyone else. Are they always selected? Absolutely not.
Sure.
Right? Do they always pass? Totally not.
Different skill sets.
Yeah, but if there were one predictor, it was going to be the team environment of them competing at a very high level, where they're used to the stress, they're used to the long hours, they're used to the hard work, they're used to the collaboration,
Interesting.
they're used to quick decision making.
Yeah.
And but it's not a perfect predictor, but by far, guys coming from elite sports and elite athletic levels
interesting to hear.
do better than anyone else.
So I've talked to a lot of sports psychs and different psychs in general that try to predict different things like that. Like the big question of like who a gamer is or who is clutch.
Yeah.
And they do say some of that might just be built in you genetic.
Yeah.
So it does make sense. Maybe you could translate it to different things.
But then you see like this skinny little nerd, that you're like, just won't quit.
Yeah.
That is,
Why'd you look at me? You see the skinny little nerd.
He don't quit.
He's got the dog in him.
Yeah.
And you're, like there's.
But you want that guy on your team.
You do.
Yeah.
You're like he doesn't have the genetics, right? He's not this like 6'4" carved out of granite looking dude.
Why'd you look at me?
And but you just can't get him to quit.
Yeah.
It's wild.
Yeah, and then you can learn skills.
Yeah.
You can't really learn that.
No.
And you got all these crazy, skinny, like computer nerd looking jiu-jitsu guys that are just killing people too.
Yeah, I mean they're really good, but then Gordon Ryan is a monster.
He looks
Yeah, he
like a
doesn't
stud.
quite look like a skinny
not
nerd to
him.
me.
Giancarlo Bidoni.
Yeah, none of
Nicolas
those guys I
Morghelli.
met today. None of
Like,
them.
Did you see anybody on the mat where you're like, man, that's a skinny little nerd?
Yeah.
None of them,
He
actually.
probably wrote Windows 98.
They're like physically imposing. They're powerful, and they just don't get tired.
So like, when was the first time you got a taste of fitness as a young kid? Because you're so feral that you're like, oh, I fucking love this.
Oh, man, young.
Yeah?
Yeah, the all the information that we have. Like my son now, he's an athlete. He doesn't touch weights yet. He's 8.
Yeah. Does he want to touch weights?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you're just telling him like, no.
Yeah,
No,
why?
you're 8.
yeah.
Go play.
Yeah,
go
yeah.
run. Go climb something. Like go jump off something. Try not to break your legs, but make your bone denser.
Yeah.
Like funny, sad story back to the impotent America that we have right now. We have more orthopedic injuries in basic training, in infantry school, and in airborne school right now in the history of all of those schools.
Oh, wow.
Their bones are literally weaker.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They have not been doing the things that we did, which is like jump out of a tree.
Just moving around,
or like riding a bike and crashing.
Playing tug of war.
Yeah. Yeah. Like that's out on school, right?
Yeah. You ever see the movie Wall-E?
Yeah. We're on our way there.
Oh no, we're billion% on our way.
I mean,
We're
like,
well
we're
on
almost,
our way.
Yeah, we're almost there.
Yeah. I'm ready for my floating wheelchair.
It falls over and
They
you
do like
can't
an
get up.
X-ray in there too, right? And they show that the humans have no bones.
Yeah.
They're just blobs.
It's real. Like
No,
we're
yeah.
literally seeing it right now in the military.
And everyone's like, just drink milk.
No.
Yeah, milk's gonna fix where we're at.
Yeah.
My kid got kicked out of his first school. And the first day at his new school, I put him in the playground. The first thing he does is he gets up on the slide and he goes down like face first. He goes, Papa, look at me. And then immediately a teacher's like, don't do that. And I'm like, oh boy, this is fucking day one. This is crazy. But at the same time, I know like he is very similar to me. And so we try to give him the most 90s environment that I had. Because I like
Why can't you go down the slide face first?
I don't know.
They don't
People
want to get sued. Yeah,
or
I'm sure it's
what?
just money. Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, because we go down face first at the regular park by
Yeah, for
ourselves.
sure.
I don't know why they can't do that at school.
I do everything face first.
No, he needs
clearly.
Yeah. So I try my best to structure it where it's like, okay, what's the dope part of the 90s? What's the bad part? And we take that part out. So he has like the perfect part of the 90s. And he trains with me in the garage and stuff all the time. I'm like, you're not going to get fat. I want you to have dense bones.
I don't know what's the bad stuff of the 90s.
I think like the ass whoopings and stuff.
I don't know if the music was it.
Do you think that's pretty good?
Man, I don't hit my kids.
You don't teach them MMA or nothing? Or teach them MMA?
No.
Yeah, like some of that I think is a spectrum that you can guide.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's maybe a little different.
Like,
Because your dad taught you MMA. He taught you.
yeah. But man, like, I mean, he was. I wouldn't have changed anything.
Yeah.
Like, my dad was perfect. My mom was perfect. Dude, my mom would walk around with a wooden, like, stick or spoon in her back pocket,
Yeah.
and she would break them on me all the time.
Just in case Tim is doing something bad.
Yeah, she'd be like, pow! You know, that was a quick draw in my back pocket.
So is that more nurture or genetics? You think of you wanting to strike people?
No, that was
Separate.
my little sister would joke. She's like, you know, she would always give me like 4 or 5 feet because there's always a good chance that there's like a wooden spoon coming from my mom, and she never wanted to be collateral damage. You know, she never.
Yeah.
And like splinters are flying type. You're like, pow, and like you got hit in the eye. Sorry, you know, lo siento mucho, amigo, but like, get a new eye.
That's pretty cool that you got a lot of MMA at home, and you take it in such a positive way. Like, what do you think? Is it just have an optimistic and positive attitude about it? Because some people resent their parents for a long time.
That's a them problem. Like, if you don't take whatever life had for you and turn that into
Something good.
yeah, the good of who you are as a person, like you're just looking as an entitled piece of shit. You're looking for an excuse, and you can blame your parents. Like I used to my best friends, that fellow I was on the phone with Chancery as I was driving here. Dude was left on the street at 12 or 13. Like meth addict parents, just gone. And dude joins the Navy, puts himself through school, becomes a firefighter, then becomes a police officer. Now he's one of the baddest dudes on the planet. You know, he's a brown belt. He's 6'3", 250 pounds, and like one hell of a shooter. Like just saved somebody not too far from here. Like had to kill somebody and save somebody's life. Like an absolute stud. Justin Lakin, my Green Beret brother-in-law. Like some of his first memories are the most horrific things that any human could experience, and those are his first memories. Right, his parents drug addicts, like had to literally survive through high school by himself with no parental figure, and one of the smartest dudes I know, one of the hardest working dudes I know, one of the most amazing fathers. You know, he's an incredible husband to his wife Lacey, or they could have found the excuses of what they had. You know, my wife, similar story, like stuff of nightmares, and she is one of the raddest humans on the planet. So you don't have an excuse. You don't.
Yeah.
You know, like sure, there's plenty of opportunity, privilege, call it whatever you want, or the military is right there for anybody. Man, you didn't have somebody get you into Ivy League school. Well, neither did I. You know, I had a single father. I had a single income father that was a police officer. That was like, man, there's nothing. Figure out a way to get through college. You know, the Army was a great option. There's just not an excuse.
That's awesome. I always feel like I'm an entitled piece of shit every time I talk to you. But it motivates me, you know, it makes me want to do better, and I love that. And I'm glad you're able to share all those stories with everyone out there. And that's the best way to end it. I'll see you guys next time. Peace.